In late April, a recovery mission was conducted in Okinawa.
さっきのが頸骨だから。とにかく銃弾が多いですね。
American service members also volunteered to participate.
Now 入ってきてもらった。ここ、それからこの先が全部で、これ全長約レーザーで測って50メーター。
A private organization conducted the recovery of the remains in a former field hospital of the Japanese Army. The cave was once surveyed by the Japanese government, but the remains were found one after another by over 100 Japanese and American volunteers cumulatively in a week-long mission. Three personal stamps with their surnames were also unearthed. The group also found a lot of human remains.
Skull.
Oh my God. It is possible that the remains of not only Japanese but also American soldiers are included. On June 29, 1945, near the end of the battle, a U.S. Marine was shot by a Japanese soldier at this location. The U.S. military blew up and sealed off the entrance, leaving the bodies of 2 Marines behind. "48 years later, in 1993, a dog tag of one of the Marines was found at the entrance. Prior to that, the site had already been excavated by the Japanese government, but even recently, human remains and artifacts are still found, so a thorough investigation was conducted. A friend of the group, a former U.S. Marine living in Okinawa, recruited 27 volunteers via social networking to help with the mission, including soldiers and military personnel.
I think more organizations need to understand that there are lost service members here on Okinawa currently, but there's not a large presence to recover those remains. So you have families not knowing where their loved ones may have died and are still resting. So I think it's important for organizations to help, and with the help of volunteers, both U.S. service members and civilian populations, to come together and try to recover those remains and bring closure to those families.
Just by the human remains, a 25-cent silver coin dated 1926 was found. More other American items were also found, So the host organization, through a local office in charge, asked the Japanese government for a detailed identification of the remains. According to the Japanese government, there are approximately 600 remains remaining in Okinawa. But in reality, local researchers say there are many more remains than that. And according to the U.S. government, the remains of many American soldiers are also left behind somewhere in Okinawa. The recovery of the remains requires the cooperation of many people. Japan and the United States have just begun to work together.
It was tiring ね、疲れた。So I want to volunteer ね。I want to volunteer, but this was a very unique kind of volunteer. Uncover remains and to give like closure and peace to the family. So I had to jump on it.
Great, definitely a good experience.
Definitely a great experience. Just to see like human remains and learn some of the history. You know, it was an amazing experience.
I think that it was very interesting, very eye-opening. You guys having a lot of information and knowledge about the artifacts, but it was just very surreal.
Because I teach history, and so I wanted to help preserve history and learn more about history. Because for many of my students, they read it in a book, they don't understand how it affects everyone. So I want to have my students come down here as well.
ガスマスクとかそういうの発見して当時のこととか知るのは面白いなって。
すごく新鮮でした。あんまりこういう分野興味はなかったんですけど、やっぱりやってみてこういう世界なんだっていう一つ世界を知れたということにとても喜びを感じています。
聞いてるんですけど、まさかあの骨出るとは思ってますね。なんか表以上に骨出るし、掘るたびに結構発見があったんで、その子は結構違ったと思いましたね。思ったより出るんやなっていう。
思ったよりいっぱい骨やら遺留品やらが出てて、本当に調査したのかなっていうのは思ってます。
でなんかこうやってアメリカ人の方と活動するっていうのも初めてのことだったので、国境を越えて他の国の方とでしかも今回はアメリカ人の方のご遺骨を探す、そういうのって本当に初めてだったので貴重な経験になりました。ありがとうございました。
You know, war is a very bad thing. No matter what side you're on, the outcome is very sad and affects us for years and years and generations to come. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing to have people come out here and actually get to know and see for themselves what happened, and then take that back. You know, go back and talk about it and let the next generations know what happened. Yeah, I think it's very important.
70年以上経ってこういう形で合同でできる、ここで亡くなった人のもうご遺骨を見つけるっていうシンプルなその一義的なところを目標に全員で皆さんでこうやって活動できるっていうのが僕はすごくいいことなんじゃないかなと思いますね。そういうなんかもうなんかナショナリズムとかそういうことを排して単に亡くなった方を慰霊するというか、弔うっていう意味で国籍問わず人種問わずこういう活動ができるのは非常に大事なことなんじゃないかなと僕は思います。